Hi everybody, Mr. Houston here again. We've just finished up our units talking about proportions and similarity and similar figures and all that kind of good stuff. And one of the big things we did in this unit was we looked how we can use proportions in setting up proportions to prove whether or not things are similar or not. And we also looked at it on how we can use proportions and apply it to real world problems. I feel that proportions and being able to use them, set them up, is actually one of the most useful things that you actually can use and apply in the real world. What's one thing that everyone can agree on that we all need? Well, food. Everyone's got to eat. Well, one of the issues that we face is, some of us are struggling to make sure we do have enough to eat. Well, no matter who you are, whether you struggle or not with food, we don't always pay attention to what exactly we're putting into our body. So today what we want to do is we want to look at and investigate, take a closer look at, what's actually right in front of us. Every food that you can buy at the store, market, anywhere, has a nutrition label, and it tells you about the food. So we want to take a closer look at those nutrition labels, and try to figure out how to read them. And moreover, what we're really going to zone in on is sugar. Everyone eats too much sugar. So we're going to figure out exactly how much sugar we're actually putting into our bodies by what we are eating. Now, what we have here is, a nutrition facts label that you can see. This comes off a box of Frosted Flakes. Very delicious breakfast cereal, as hopefully we all know. Let's just take a closer look at these and figure out what these labels are telling us. First thing that all labels tell us is the serving size. How much of what food you should be eating. In our Frosted Flakes right there, they tell us it's about 3/4 of a cup or 30 grams. The next measurement that every food label will tell you is the calories. Calories, that's the energy, it's the energy that the food can give your body. And we measure it per serving, as you can see right here. And in this box of Frosted Flakes, one serving is 110 calories. Or, as most of us do, when you put milk in it, and they use gross skim milk, it jumps up to about 150 calories. The next measurements we take a look at are all things that our body just needs to maintain and function properly. The big, more important ones are usually listed up here on top of our nutrition label. And then you have all this crazy important stuff down here, but that's kind of secondary to the bigger stuff on top. Everything up here in this top section is labeled in weight. How it's measured is by its weight. Most of the time, you can see that it's in grams, such here is the fats, or milligrams, smaller amounts, because milli means small. Again, looking closer at this label, we have our fats, all the different kind of fats that your body can take in. Fats are just one of those as a substance that your body needs to run. Same thing with cholesterol. Cholesterol, it's kind of defined as a fatty, wax-like substance. Every cell in your body has cholesterol in it, but if it has some in it, too much is probably a bad thing. Same thing with sodium. Sodium we usually think of as salt. Some salt's good, too much salt is bad. Same thing with potassium. That's a mineral our body uses to help regulate our cells and muscles to make sure everything's working properly. We have carbohydrates. Carbohydrates, so you get those from breads, cereals, grains, all those kind of things. That provides a lot of energy that your body uses. Now they take carbohydrates and they break it down into different levels, just like they do the fats. Good carbohydrates typically come from what they call your dietary fibers. The more dietary fibers, the greater percentage your dietary fiber is of your carbohydrates, the better the food is for you. Unfortunately, most foods we eat, the dietary fiber is down, and what makes up a bulk of the carbohydrates our body takes in is actually the sugars. Like I said, that's the thing we're going to focus on today. The also big major thing that we always want to look at is protein. Protein, that makes your muscles energy. It's what actually builds your muscles, builds cells. Without protein, we wouldn't be much of anything. All this information about our food is great to know. But like with anything that's right in front of us, it doesn't do us any good if we don't pay attention to the information that is there. One of the biggest things that most people don't pay attention to is actually the serving size. Most people think, oh, I had enough or I didn't eat too much, when actually their serving size is way too big. So, with every food you eat, the serving size is different. So to compare different foods, different kind of foods, whether it's cereal or Pop-Tarts or anything you might eat, is you have to make sure that we can use proportions to actually make sure we're comparing the different sizes rather than just one serving of one food versus one serving in another. We're actually comparing the same amount. So our goal now is to use a proportion to look at the serving size so we can normalize it and compare it to the other foods that we're going to investigate today. In a bowl of Frosted Flakes, we can see that the serving size is 30 grams. 30 grams, is that a lot? Is that a little? It's 3/4 of a cup. Well, we'll have to find out when we need to investigate more. But, again, depending on the food, the size of the food, what you're eating, it's really tough to really tell if you're able to compare them or not. Excuse me. So what we're going to do today is, while our Frosted Flakes have a serving size of 30, we're going to compare it to, and when we're going to compare all of our other foods today, that we're going to compare it to 20 grams. Why are we comparing it to 20 grams? Because, well, that's a good, nice number that we picked that we can compare most foods to rather easily. So, okay. Frosted Flakes is 30 grams. We're comparing it to 20 grams as we see here in our first fraction. We're going to take that and we're going to set it equal to, well, if we have the grams over here on this fraction, talking about how much it weighs, right over here with this fraction, well, on this side, we're going to compare what we want to talk about and look at today is the sugar. Well, looking at our label, our nutritional label, we know right down here in the bottom here, we can see that one serving size, 30 grams of Frosted Flakes, has 11 grams of sugar. 11 grams. Well, we want to figure out how many grams of sugar should be in our 20-gram serving of Frosted Flakes. So right here, that's where I'm going to put X and try to solve from there. From here, now it's up to us just to cross multiply so we can solve for X. First thing I'm going to do is simplify this fraction on the left side, 30 over 20. I'm going to cross out zeros to make it 3 over 2. Set that equal to our grams of sugar, 11 over X. From here, cross multiply like we've been practicing. 3 times X gives me 3X. 2 times 11 is 22. 3x equals 22. Divide by 3 on both sides so we can solve and see that x equals, dividing it on my calculator, about 7.33 grams. 7.33 grams of sugar in 20 grams of cereal. 20 grams of cereal. Now we have a lot of information. We know that the serving size is 30 grams of cereal was 11 grams of sugar. You weren't that hungry today, so you only had 20 grams of cereal, and you figured out that's 7.33 grams. But what does that really mean? What is a gram of sugar? What's a gram? Well, little science tells me that 1 gram is equal to the weight of about 1 paperclip. But really, since we're talking about serving size, how much is 11 grams of sugar in a serving size? How much is 7.33 grams of sugar in a serving size? Well, to figure this out, we need to know how many grams of sugar make up one serving. Well, one serving of sugar is considered to be one packet of sugar. Something like this that you've probably seen in a restaurant somewhere along the line. Well, one serving, one packet of sugar, right here, is equal to 4 grams of sugar. Well, we're going to use this information right here, that one packet equals 4 grams. Well, we're calling one packet, we're also calling that one serving of sugar. We're going to use that information right there, along with what we just calculated on the previous screen, to figure out exactly how many servings or how many packets of sugar are in our 20-gram bowl of cereal. Now, this is where our proportion comes in. Like we just said, one packet or one serving equals 4 grams. I'm going to let that be my first ratio in my proportion. One pack of sugar equals to 4 grams. And in our previous math that we did, our previous problem, well, in our 20-gram serving of cereal, we knew there were 7.33 grams of sugar. And what we're trying to search for right now, what we're trying to solve for, is how many packets of sugar. So I'm going to call that X packets right now. Let's cross multiply. We see that 4x equals 7.33. Divide by 4 on both sides. So we can solve that x equals about 1.83. What's that mean to us? Well, there's 1.83 packets of sugar, or servings of sugar, in 20 grams of our Frosted Flake cereal.